Welcome to Inside City Hall. I'm your host, Mayor Daryl Seymore, and today our first guest is Shane Himasaw, the city engineer for the city of Show Low. Welcome, Shane.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good.
Great. So we're going to talk a little bit about the cemetery and some of the improvements that have recently gone on over there at the cemetery. Now I got to tell you that as a little guy in Show Low, I hated going to the cemetery because that place was dirty, it was hot, it was nothing but weeds, and my mom would send me up there to take care of my grandpa's grave, and it was just one of those things that I just kind of dreaded going all the time, and I have some memories of hurting myself up there and just different things. But just recently there at Memorial Day, it was fantastic to see what the VFW did with all of the flags, recognizing the people who have sacrificed for our country, and just respecting the people that are up there. But I think it's great, some of the new additions that we have coming up to the cemetery. Why don't you share with us some of these new things that are happening?
You bet. We've had two main projects going on this spring and early summer, trying to carry on the character of the existing cemetery. One is the expansion of the loop road. We added a 600-foot road, loop road off the main road of the new expansion. The new loop road will eventually add, just on the inside, another 560 plots and another 100 crematory plots. Just better access to the new plots that are being added in the new portion of the cemetery. And then the second project that's underway currently is the cemetery restroom project. It's a fairly simple but effective facility. It's a dual stall restroom at the cemetery, so when people are there enjoying the facility and there for ceremonies, they can use the facilities when needed. So
that's something that people think you can just put a restroom up real quick. I think it's been on the books now about a year and a half, 2 years, maybe even a little bit longer that we've talked about it. But one of the neat things that I found with our city is when we get an idea, we get it approved, it usually comes to pass, and it's kind of neat to see that that's going to happen here. It's one of those things that sometimes you're out there. I don't know that there's very many cemeteries that will have a facility like that, a restroom facility. I know some of the newer ones being built have, but it will be nice to have that. Just sometimes you get a grandchild or somebody and they just got to go. And so it's going to be, instead of knocking on a neighbor's door around there, they'll be able to have a facility.
Exactly. I think it'd be a great addition. You bet.
When do you think that will be done?
I think by the end of the month. I think the pad was poured this week, so another month or so of work out there, and I think things will be ready for an opening, I guess.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Now the loop is down just a little further, and I guess we have room for that, and then there's some dirt being hauled in that eventually the entire hillside will become landscaped over several years, but that's the master project, right?
Absolutely. There's further, I guess, future additions as well, and those will carry the cemetery property all the way down to 6th Street, and those will eventually be all plots, and crematory plots and regular plots, and I think at least one more road addition to keep access reasonable to the plots.
Okay. Do you know if there'll be any trees added, or do we just some cemeteries have restrictions and things like that, but do you know if we'll be planting any trees in the new area, or is that something that we're not going to do?
I believe that was heavily discussed, and I think there's actually been plots reserved for future trees, and then I think as budget becomes available and timing, we can get some trees in there and definitely add some shade to that new hill.
Okay. So I think it's one of the things that people need to realize. If they'd like to purchase a plot out there, you can come into City Hall. Yep. There's people right here at City Hall. You can talk with them, and they have it. Do they have it mapped out, that new area, all ready to go?
They do as well. Yep. And they come down, talk to us, and we'll show you the plots, what's being added, and what will be there soon.
Oh, that's fantastic. So now, is this new area going to be fully sprinklered right now and landscaped? Other places have the sod growing and sprinkler system, or is that something that comes a little later?
A little later, and this was just the roadway infrastructure being built this time. I believe our next fiscal year budget does include funding for cemetery improvements, which will be then the topsoil, irrigation, and the grass will come into that point. So, and then I think at that point is when I think it gets opened up to be sold, and people can go in there if they'd like. So.
Okay. So that's something that's neat. Another 560, sites there. So that's fantastic. I just want to thank the people there who work at the cemetery. I know it's one of those things that it's always beautified. They take a lot of pride in it, And I think it's something that we have to be thankful for as a city. We've been able to now have a street that's nice because we don't always have the best of weather at some funerals, and be able to track through mud and wade through mud. Now I think most everywhere out there is pretty much asphalted, and you're going to be able to walk in and out, and it makes that experience a lot more pleasant.
It's a good facility. Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Anything else you want to share?
And that's it. We're happy to see it built, and we're excited to see it continue to grow. So.
All right. Well, Shane, thanks for being with us today. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Stay tuned for the next segment of Inside City Hall, where we will have Trampus Johnston, the engineer tech for the city. Welcome back to Inside City Hall. Our next guest is Trampus Johnston, the engineer tech for the city. Welcome, Trampus.
Thank you, Mayor.
Glad to have you with us
today.
today.
Nice to be here.
You know, it's fantastic what we have going on over there at the cemetery, and you're to share with us a few things that are kind of new to our citizens that I hope will be a great asset to that experience when people go to the cemetery, possibly to look for somebody or a headstone or something. Why don't you share with us something that we have new to share with our citizens?
Sure thing. We've been working real hard at the city just to make it a little easier to locate family members out there at the cemetery. And so we have on our city website, which is sholoaz.gov, they go to the bottom, click on maps, and that'll take us to our mapping page with all of our maps available. And on there is the city cemetery map. So with this map, they can look at plots that are available, plots that are sold, plots that are occupied, plots that are emptied, and it allows them to search for family members. So on our website here, why don't we go ahead and look up some of your family members and see who is in there. So if we search for Seymore, we find 13 of them. And you can see there are quite a few in here. Some of them will have information about birth and death, and some of them are not. These are things that we will continually be documenting. There's quite a few plots out there, so it is quite time consuming to go through there, but it is one of our projects. So it makes it really easy to search. You'll see they're highlighted in orange when they appear on the map, and so that'll help you find them. Yeah, and find where they're at, which sections they're in, and they're all labeled out there at the cemetery. One of the best things about this is mobile device friendly. So you can be actually out at the cemetery with your tablet or your cell phone, do these searches. You can even use your locate button, which is on our map here on the left-hand side. You can use that, and depending on the accuracy of your own phone, it'll get you kind of where you're at. Okay. And then you can use that to find it.
Now, do I need to have a special app downloaded to my phone, or I just go to the city website?
Just go right to the city website, and it is mobile friendly. Another thing that we've been working on is we have headstones added to the city website, and that is thanks to one of the citizens, Colleen Myers. She spent a lot of time documenting these. It was a huge blessing to the city for her to take the time to do that, and so we are super grateful for those efforts.
So what has Colleen done?
So she went out and photographed a majority of the headstones that are out there.
Wow.
Major project. She does research for genealogy, and so it kind of helps her do her work, and obviously it helps everyone else now too, especially those who are long distance and trying to research family members and actually see the actual headstone.
Oh, that's really neat. So I can be back in Virginia, and I can pull up a family name, and I can go right there and see that the headstone,
as if you were standing right there.
That's fantastic.
So the way that works is once you find a family member, you simply click on that plot, and you will get a preview of the headstone. And here's information about who's here, birth and death dates, and then if you click that more info link, it will load a full-size image of the headstone.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's really neat.
It's really great for family members, especially doing genealogy research and things like that. So we hope that the citizens find this useful and valuable to them.
Well, it's one of those things. I know there have been several legal projects out there where we've have some of the road sections and different sections off. So now this just takes the next step of putting it right there. And there's sometimes I go, well, I'll never forget where this person is buried. And even my own family members and different people, sometimes a large family or just friends, you go, now where was this person exactly? And sometimes your memory isn't exactly the same, and the cemetery changes a lot.
It does. It continues to grow and
changing
expand.
And growing, and they change things. So this will be great to be able to just put a name in and go out there and find it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Anything else that we have coming up?
We have some other mapping available. You know, there's information on the city website about garbage routes, slurry sealing. A lot of our current projects are listed there, so if you're curious about what's going on around town, there'll be photographs documenting those projects as they go on. So a lot of great information available for our citizens just to help them know more about what we're doing here at the city.
So I mean, really anybody can go to one of these maps in a different segment and they can pull up their own house. They can pull up exactly, you know, what it looks like at that time. When was the last time we took a photograph of the community? What is the mapping time frame?
2012,
Okay.
and then we'll be doing one again here in another couple years. We try
Okay.
to keep it fairly
So it is
updated.
pretty up to date and accurate.
And there's some older maps available on there too that you can switch to. I believe there's a 96 map, so it's kind of interesting to see how the city has changed through that time. So you have that availability to change those as well.
Well, that's great. Have we had you on the show before?
This is my first time.
Well, we appreciate it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm originally from Las Vegas, and
Okay.
we've been out here about 4 years now, and we love it up here in the mountains. It's a beautiful place to live. We're really blessed to be here.
And so, did you stay in Las Vegas? Was you born and raised that area, or?
Originally from Albuquerque,
Albuquerque.
moved out there. My wife was born and raised in Las Vegas, which is pretty rare, it being a very transient town. So it's kind of special that she had spent most of her life there.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you with the city and what you're doing here in our technology department and just, you know, as a tech. That's fantastic.
Thank
and,
you.
know, Colleen, you know, if you see her in town or come across, be sure and thank her. I mean,
Absolutely.
this is just a great project that she's done for the cemetery and for people who are doing genealogy and more than anything for history, and people can come in and the city can look them up, and there's just a lot of neat things that we have, you know, captured now that we're able to use, and hopefully we can have somebody that continue the process when we get new markers put out there and different things too.
Yeah, and as we do that, we would like to see the families post markers. So as new markers are placed, when you first go to this website, there will be a pop-up, and it explains the process for doing that. So if you would like to add to our database and add photos, it gives you some explanation on how to do that, who to send it to, because we want to keep it current and keep it updated as much as possible.
Are you able to show that pop-up at all on here today? Or
Unfortunately, I clicked it away
Okay,
when I went
all right.
on, and so
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay. But give us the website address one more time. I know it's a new website. We've made a lot of changes to our city website, and it's one of the things that I hope that people will start using more to be informed about what's happening in our city. But go ahead and give us that address
That's
again.
sholoaz.gov, and at the very bottom of the page, there's a button that says Maps. And go ahead and click that, and it'll take you right where you need to be.
And I think it's one thing you have to realize on our website, you have to scroll down right now.
Yep.
Hopefully we can get that fixed, but we have to scroll down to get to the bottom. So,
Yep.
so do that. Well, thanks a lot, Trampus.
Thank you for your time
Appreciate
today.
being here.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us on Inside City Hall today. If you have questions and would like them answered, give us a call here at 532-4061 and we'll answer them. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Mayor. I appreciate it.